My name is Anton Nossik, and I have been blogging since April '96, although there was no way one would call that blogging back then, because the term blogging only appeared in the English language in '99.
So what did you call it?
That was an online column. That was columnism.
So what's different when you think about what you were writing about in the late '90s to how you're writing and using blogs today? What would you think? What would you say is different for you?
Well, nearly everything, because there has been a significant change in consumption of what I write and publish on one hand, and in production on the other hand. To write something for an online publication back then, 15 years ago, you had to go to a place physically connected to the internet, sit down, go online, which sometime took hours to dial up, and then share your thoughts. And if you did that once every day, that was considered heroism. While nowadays, just idly sitting somewhere, drinking coffee, you can at the same time press a couple of buttons and instantly publish any funny picture you just made or came across in 7 different platforms using one iPhone application called Instagram.
So do you use Instagram?
I use it a lot. I have more than 1,000 followers there.
Oh.
But in general, what I publish through Instagram goes out to at least 50,000 subscribers in different media.
Ah, right. So beyond Instagram, and you have a live journal blog, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Everybody in Russia does.
Yes. I remember when they sold. I used to know the people at Six Apart, but.
But if you look at all those assets they didn't sell, that was Buff. The other assets they didn't sell, they just closed them. All the blog hostings that Six Apart used to own before relocating to Japan.
I am a TypePad user.
Well,
I'm still, allegedly my blog is still live. I'm hoping it's still. Hoping it continues.
Yeah, it's a technological platform. The communal platforms like Vox, they had to close it. They posted closure notices exactly at the time when they sold LiveJournal.
It's too bad. I had great hopes for them. I always liked those guys. So beyond Instagram and the Live Journal, what else do you publish on? What other platforms do you use?
I have a Twitter which has more followers nowadays than my Live Journal. It is approaching 40,000 subscribers, President Medvedev being one of them. And the fastest growing platform these days is, of course, Google Plus, which has, I have 17,000 subscribers there as of this morning.
On Google Plus, do you publish in Russian or English?
In Russian.
Russian, okay.
That's why there are so few. If I were writing in English, it would have been an altogether different audience, but I haven't come up with an idea of what to say to that English-speaking audience, unfortunately.
You are a celebrity in this country. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, because tens of millions of people read and use projects that I created. But this is not the TV star sort of popularity. It's not that people recognize me in the streets and ask for signatures. I would have committed suicide probably if that were the case. Luckily, people who do recognize me are people who are somehow connected to the internet or employed online, and by the latest estimate of Boston Consulting Group, it's 156,000 people the whole of Russia.
And politics, technology, are you equally interested in both?
Well, since there are no real politics in Russia, I'm far less interested in politics than technology. I imagine if I lived in some place where they hadn't cancelled all the elections, I would have written more about politics.
So you've been doing this since '96. Now you're on Google+. Now you're on Twitter, Instagram. What's next for you? What do you next want to try to accomplish with all of your kind of publishing and building a relationship with your audience?
Well, what I do is pretty much part of my lifestyle over the last 15 years. I'm somehow used to processing whatever I hear and see and read into some sorts of shorter and longer blog posts. This doesn't consume time or energy. This doesn't have to be a full-time or part-time job, because it simply happens. It's a process very much like thinking, especially with the gadgets that eliminate any difficulty in the publication process, which reduces all the technicalities to pressing one button. It doesn't have to evolve anywhere. It's good the way it is.
There are a lot of journalists in this country who are also bloggers, but there also seems to be tension between journalists. I'm not sure if you consider the last speaker a journalist, and bloggers.
Rather publishers.
Publishers.
And that tension is totally fictitious, because in the end of the day, they all try to attract bloggers, to receive quoting from bloggers. Everybody has a button for reposting. It's funny when in the morning you hear some publisher complaining about bloggers cannibalizing his product, and at noon you see his website all swarming with buttons, post there, post here, quote, take, share. It's not doing that is very much like excluding yourself from Google News, like the Belgian publishers recently did.
Do you think that Russian publishers are doing a good job of catching up with social media?
Well, they all are doing a very good job of catching up with LiveJournal and integrating it. Because LiveJournal is such an obvious partner for anyone. It would be strange if anyone still missed that train in 2011.
Now, is there any chance that Facebook will overtake Contacta?
Well, there will be no point in using Facebook then for the people who are using it now. For the 5 million Russians who are using Facebook nowadays in Russia, out of 53 million internet users. These are the 8-9% of, let's say, the elites, the specific people who enjoy interacting with each other, while none of them has any interest in things happening in Vkontakte, which is a social network for school kids and students interacting about their daily activities.
So you see them as exclusive. They're two different universes.
This is how Facebook came to exist in Russia. By virtue of being a special place where some part of Russian internet audience, let's call them global Russians, interact with other Facebook users worldwide. That's the main attraction, and this is something that Vkontakte does not offer and will never offer.
Contacte will never go outside Russia. There will never be a French version of Contacte.
Vkontakte has already renamed itself to vk.com. From the viewpoint of their strategic business plans, they are already saying they're global, but their global audience is exactly like their local audience. It's kids.